I'm willing to bet that you've never seen an IEM quite like this before. These should cost way more money than they do. And so what is it that I'm talking about here? Well, this is the Dita Project M IEM. It's a brand new release from Dita. It moves away from their traditional approach to IEMs, being that it's now in an acrylic or resin-based shell. It's also a hybrid design using a dynamic driver with a balanced armature, and it might just be the best thing I've heard in a very long time. Now, when I said at the beginning that I thought these deserve to cost more than they're being charged for, that's not because I want to pay more money for products in general. I like it when products are cheap. And the reason that I think these are such great value for money is that when you open up the case, you get this lovely cable that's made with cardless wire. So it's a very high quality internal wire. It's got a removable plug system at the end, so you can change from 4.4 to 3.5mm. You also get this kind of over-engineered little hard case here. It's got a little carry handle on top. I don't kind of get why you need that. It's also got another teeny tiny and realistically useless carry handle next to the latch there. And so you get a beautiful cable, you get a hard case, you get an IEM that is one of the most striking looking IEMs that I've ever come across. And by the way, along with this gorgeous build quality, you're also getting a 10-year warranty. That's nuts. You're getting 10 years of warranty on an IEM. These are things that people often replace every couple of years, or at least build up a collection and don't go back to them that regularly. This is obviously intended to be an IEM that you're going to listen to and enjoy for the long term. Inside this ridiculously clear resin housing, we've got a stainless steel chamber that contains the dynamic driver and the balanced armature, and that's all designed to help control the frequency response and the performance characteristics. By the way, it's a custom-made driver specific for Dita, and all of that combines to make an IEM with a 32 ohm load and a 107 decibel sensitivity. That's decibels per milliwatt. All in all, easy to drive, beautiful to look at, incredibly made, 10-year warranty, crazy accessories. So how much do you think it costs? I want you to actually pause the video right now, go down into the comments and take a guess below, assuming you don't already know the answer. Guess below, how much do you think these retail for in US dollars? And now what if I told you the retail price on these is $325 US? Now that's not cheap, but for the build quality, the aesthetics, the attention to detail, the 10-year warranty, the accessories, that's absolutely nuts, assuming they sound good. If they don't sound any good, then they're just overpriced ear jewellery. And by the way, thank you to minidisc.com.au for sending these out. Let's hope they're not just overpriced ear jewellery, or they may not want to send me any gear in the future. When it came time to find out if the sound performance of these matched their accessories and their design quality and build quality, it only seemed right to reach for Dita's own Navigator dongle DAC. I'm going to review this guy soon. This is the Navigator. I'm going to compare it to what I think of as the best dongle on the planet. So make sure you subscribe if you want to find out which dongle's going to win. I also tried the Project M's with my go-to portable setup of the Chord Mojo 2 and the Poly. And I happened to start off listening to some jazz, and the saxophone timbre was sublime from the Project M. Absolutely astonishing for $325 US IEM. Articulation and the sense of refinement seemed to be way beyond what I expect from a $300 earphone, and it was sounding to me more like a $1,000 earphone at this point. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. It honestly was blowing my mind. The bass is solid and tactile, but not particularly punchy or strong, and probably a touch less than I personally prefer. But bass might just be the most variable frequency range of all amongst all of us with our different perceptions of different frequencies. And I've got a video all about that. It's linked in the description down below if you want to understand more about why I might hear a little bit differently from you, or a lot differently even. Coming back to the Project M, and the separation and staging they're delivering is absolutely fantastic, and so it was all going really well. However, there's just a little bit too much spice from these in the top end sometimes. It's a very preferential thing. We've all got different tolerances to treble, different preferences to tonalities, but these were just edging into the area of brightness for me sometimes. I like my treble and my upper mid-range relatively smooth, not super dark, but smoother than these are delivering. Sounds like cymbals have just a little bit more ting than I'd like them to have, and yet at the same time it's kind of addictive because it's articulate, it's refined. It's not about a lack of quality in the treble, it's about a little bit too much quantity. And I think this really just comes back down to tonal balance rather than anything to do with quality and refinement. On a track like Cold Cold Heart, the Project M's reward you with this wonderful sense of clarity and resolution in the saxophone, but the double bass is just lacking a little tiny bit of weight and presence. It's still good bass, but I just want a little bit more sense of authority down low from a double bass. And so the Project M was shaping up to be a very, very impressive IEM. One that's got a little bit too much treble, it's a little bit too much spicy for me on certain tracks and potentially on certain systems, but I think for many people it's going to be right in the sweet spot. And even though I would like just a little bit less treble, I still think these are performing way beyond their price tag. But maybe I'm delusional, let's see. There are two excellent IEMs in my collection between $300 US and $400 US, and that's the Moondrop Blessing 3 and the Yanyin Canon II. Comparing the Project M and the Blessing 3 is a no contest to me. The Blessing 3 comparatively sounds like it's had tissues placed over the nozzles. And even more strangely, it's also harsher in the top end. So it sounds kind of muted and congested, a little bit muffled compared to the Project M, but it also bites more when you get any kind of excess treble in a track. And so from the Blessing 3, everything's less articulated, more congested, a little bit harsher in the top end, less refined, and so it's really a no contest between the Blessing 3 and the Project M. And these two are priced almost identically, so the Project M is just looking stupidly good at this point. And in fact, so much so that they also breeze past the Canon II. Not quite as easily as they pasted the Blessing 3s, but it's still a fairly comfortable win to the Project M. The dynamic driver from the Project M delivers bass that's tight and punchy in a way that the Canon II can only really dream of. But having said that, the Canon II does regain a little bit of ground because it's got a fuller and weightier bass. And this is even in its medium bass mode with just one of the switches on. You can turn both switches on in the Canon II and get even more bass still, but it's never going to be quite as tight and punchy as you get from the Project M. So it depends a lot on what you're looking for. Unfortunately, with the Canon II in any bass mode compared to the super tight, super controlled Project M bass, you are going to get a little bit of boominess that comes along with that extra sense of presence that the Canon II brings. Now, I don't mind it, but I prefer the Project M. And then where the contest gets less close is the moment we start thinking about clarity, separation, resolution, all of the technicalities. The Project M is just nigh on impossible to beat anywhere near this price point, I think. You're going to have to climb to much higher price points to start matching what the Project M's delivering. The sound from the Project M is as clear and pristine as their resin shells. It's super impressive. And so if you want the best $1,000 IEM that you can buy for $325 US, you need to get yourself a pair of Project M's. I did a direct comparison with some other IEMs in my collection, like the Thieaudio Monarch Mark III and the Sennheiser IE600, and the Project M's are just right there with those much more expensive models. It's not often that we get true giant killers in this hobby, but the Project M is one of them. These could cost 3 times their price, and I'm super glad they don't. And so check out the links in the description if you want to go pick up a pair or read about them more for yourself. And for now, thank you to all the channel Patreon members that helped make this video possible. If you want to join my Patreon community and help me to continue making videos like this one, then click here and go through and check out the various tiers and benefits that each of those tiers receives. And if you've enjoyed this video, you'll probably really like this one up here as well. I think that's it.